is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path.
First reading. A reading from the first book of Samuel, chapter 1, verses 9 to 20. Hannah rose after a meal at Shiloh and presented herself before the Lord. At the time, Eli the priest was sitting on a chair near the doorpost of the Lord's temple. In her bitterness, she prayed to the Lord, weeping copiously. And she made a vow promising, O Lord of hosts, if you look with pity on the misery of your handmaid, if you remember me and do not forget me, if you give your handmaid a male child, I will give him to the Lord for as long as he lives. Neither wine nor liquor shall he drink, and no razor shall ever touch his head. As she remained long at prayer before the Lord, Eli watched her mouth, for Hannah was praying silently. Though her lips were moving, her voice could not be heard. Eli, thinking her drunk, said to her, How long will you make a drunken show of yourself? Sober up from your wine. It isn't that, my lord, Hannah answered. I am an unhappy woman. I have had neither wine nor liquor. I was only pouring out my troubles to the Lord. Do not think your handmaid a ne'er-do-well. My prayer has been prompted by my deep sorrow and misery. Eli said, Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. She replied, Think kindly of your maidservant, and left. She went to her quarters, ate and drank with her husband, and no longer appeared downcast. Early the next morning, they worshipped before the Lord, and then returned to their home in Ramah. When Elkanah had relations with his wife Hannah, the Lord remembered her. She conceived, and at the end of her term bore a son, whom she called Samuel, since she had asked the Lord for him. The word of the Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Mark, chapter 1, verse 21 to 28. Jesus came to Capernaum with his followers, and on the Sabbath he entered the synagogue and taught. The people were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. In their synagogue was a man with an unclean spirit. He cried out, What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. Jesus rebuked him and said, Quiet, come out of him. The unclean spirit convulsed him, and with a loud cry came out of him. All were amazed and asked one another, What is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him. His fame spread everywhere throughout the whole region of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord.
My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, my dear children and my dear young generation, today Tuesday, 11th of January 2022. We are still in the first week, naturally. The Gospel today is once again from Mark, chapter 1, verses 21 to 28. Having seen yesterday the election, the choice, the call of the first 4 disciples, the followers of Christ, today we enter into another encounter. Jesus is in Capernaum. Jesus is in the synagogue, most probably in the synagogue that is found right in front of the house of Peter. Because we will see that coming out from the synagogue, Jesus would enter into the house of Peter. Today, what is important? Once they are gathered in the temple, in the so-called synagogue, they have come to listen to him. It could be most probably a time on Sabbath day. Jesus is there. Jesus is there to announce the good news, explain to them. But the people have flocked into the synagogue. Among them, there is the presence of the evil power, a man possessed by the evil power, by the devil. The beautiful thing is, it is the devil who recognizes in Jesus the true Messiah, the Son of God, God himself. And he is, in a certain sense, the devil is the one announcing to the whole crowd, look, the one you all are listening now, he's the one, the Messiah to come. And he's God himself. And therefore, he is now asking the Lord, what kind of relationship we have between us. Jesus, what does he do? He keeps the devil calm because he doesn't want at this time for him to be revealed to the world already as the Messiah, as the Son of God, or God himself as the Redeemer. But he wants to reveal himself slowly, gradually. My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, my dear children and young generation, in the reading, there are two things that we have to remember. Jesus teaches us with authority, of which the people marvel, and they remain amazed with the authority with which he is teaching now to the people. And this teacher is different from others. But not only that, he is able to calm down and to cast out even evil powers. The people are scared at the evil powers which are invisible. Now Jesus is the only one capable of calming down, casting out even the invisible evil powers. When Jesus is there, everything is good, everything is calm. No evil power reigns.